Alright, my YouTube friends, here we are, back for another episode of the Crazy Dad Camaro. And I told you in some of the more recent videos somewhere that I've got a surprise for you. So I was at the U-Pull-Out Wrecking Yard a little while back and was able to pick up this nice piece of replacement carpet for this car for $11. So I couldn't pass that up. That'll allow me to go in there. And if you remember back in the earlier videos how we, as we were cleaning the thing up and trying to get some stuff fixed, that we've got this big gnarly hole in the driver's side of the floor mat, plus we've got a bunch of cigarette burns and things like that down there, and back here on the back deck between the back seat and the trunk, that piece of carpet is so sun faded and roughed up that it just looks terrible, and we're going to be able to fix all of those problems today by pulling all the interior out and swapping in this piece of carpet. So we're going to go jump into that process here and talk about some of the how-tos on that and move forward so we can show you how that's done. And I'll just kind of pop this door open and show you some of the basic things that we've got to do here. So anytime you're doing a carpet, it means you got to get everything out that is sitting on top of it. And so that's going to mean we got to pull the seats out, which are really pretty simple because remember we just have 4 bolts on them, and they'll come out on both sides. You've got to take the seat belt loose, which it'll have a bolt down in here, and that'll free it up from the floor. And then, so that'll get the 2 front seats out. Then we got to get the back seats out, which, if I remember right, I pulled the ones out at the wrecking yard. There's like 4 bolts that hold that back. I think there's a bolt on each side that holds the back in, and then each of the base cushions has a bolt on the front of it that holds it in. Plus, we've got to unbolt the seat belts from the floor, and then we've got to come in here and start taking the plastic panels out that come down and cover the floor. So I've already had the 2 back ones pulled out because I was doing some replacement on the tail lights, had a broken tail light, so replaced that. So I've had them out already. We're going to have to pull that side panel out, I think. I'll have to get down there and look closer. That will also entail, there is a bolt right there that's a latch bolt for the back seat when it folds up. That's going to have to come out. And then usually there's just a bunch of clips so we can just pop those panels off. We'll have to do that. Then right down here on the door sill, this plastic panel goes all the way up here and includes this kick panel. And it comes out, I think there's 4 or 5 or 6 screws along the base of it here, and maybe 1 more back up under there, and that will pull it out. Then we've got to pull the console out and all the stuff surrounding the shifter and things like that. So if you remember right, I glued that lid back on the center console a while back with my windshield urethane. I believe I've got 1 or 2 screws that hold that console down to the floor inside of there, so I'm probably going to have to cut that urethane again and take that lid off and then re-glue it once I get this all done. But usually there's a couple screws down in there, and then that part will lift up and pop loose from some clips. There's a possibility we may have some more screws up in this area underneath this. This ashtray should pop out. The surround for the shifter should pop free. Yep, there we go. And then underneath that there will be some screws. We might luck out and not have to pull this cover off, but I don't think so. I've kind of played with it, and I'm quite sure there's some screws underneath there. So I'll have to do that. This piece here will have to unbolt and come out, which should be pretty simple. But at that point, we should have completely uncovered the carpet. And then there's nothing holding the carpet in. It just has to pull out. So really, the most complicated part of this whole project is going to be I'm going to have to cut this cover back off and replace it. Outside of that, I don't think this is going to be hardly that big of a challenge. but it'll take 2 or 3 hours or something like that. What I'll try to do is get you another short video here when I get all the pieces pulled out and kind of give you a report on what I had to do and if I found anything else that was interfering. And we'll get to that point and get you another video, and then probably show us pulling the carpet out and sliding the new piece in, and we'll go back from there. So talk to you in a few minutes. For $11 and some labor, we're going to make a huge difference in the quality of the interior of this car, so I'm excited about that. So here we go. We've got the carpet out of the thing now. By far the hardest thing was getting the shifter handle off. It had a little clip on it, and I found that, but then it didn't come off. We ended up having to beat it off with a hammer, so it was stuck on there. But I ended up not having to take those panels clear out. They're all loose except for the clothing hanger hook up in there is still stuck in, holding it in place. But we got her all out, and the funniest thing in the world was underneath all of that console, first of all, there was about an inch of cigarette ash. It was really disgusting. And about $18 worth of treasure trove of change that we pulled out from under that console. In all the years of working on cars, I've never found that much change in a car. That was crazy. It had gotten in there and was covered with cigarette ash, and it slid down in the sides and was underneath the seats and the carpet everywhere here. It was amazing. Anyway, kind of a fun adventure in our progress, but got her out of there, and now we'll be ready to slide that replacement piece back in there. So here's our replacement, and there's the old wad of our old one that we just took out, and so we're going to start seeing if we can get this one stuffed back in there and get it back into place. It'll be a little more challenging than taking the other one out, I'm sure, but there we go. Right, boys and girls, check out our new free carpet upgrade. Yeah, we got it in there. It took my son and Carter and I about 4 hours, 3 or 4 hours to do it, and yeah, I'm really grateful that we did. We've got a much better carpet situation going on in here now. You can see that it's the darker gray color instead of the light gray, so my floor mat is a contrast to it instead of a match. But again, a lot of the interior on this car has gone to dark gray with some of the replacement stuff that we've put in it. So it's come along really good. But when I said free carpet upgrade, why did I say that? Remember? I only paid $11 for that carpet, and I was just laughing because when we tore the center console out, took the shifter off, not only did we find an inch worth of cigarette ash underneath all of this mess right here, but we also found about $18.25 worth of change. So let's see, $18.25 minus the $11 for the carpet. I think that we made a profit on that one. So anyway, it's turned out good. I no longer have the big gnarly hole on the driver's side. The carpet's not perfect, but it's pretty dang good. And I could either run it like that, or I think what I'm going to do is put this gray floor pad back in, or floor mat back in there, even though it's got a little bit of wear and tear on it, because it will still protect my carpet and keep me from getting a hole in it. So there we go. All new, huge improvement I wasn't planning on, but like I said, when I was in the wrecking yard and that was only $11, I thought that was a good move. So I'm really pleased with that hole being gone. This panel right here especially I'm happy with, because it was really ratty looking and really detracted from the look of the car. It also, underneath here where you have this piece of carpet hanging down, our other one had shrunk for some reason, and you were seeing the big red gap where the two carpets didn't come together. So big improvement, big improvement there. And I also pulled this thing out of the wrecking yard. I think they gave it to me as we were missing it, but it's a cargo cover, I guess, so whatever cargo you put down in this trunk area here, you can't see it through the hatchback window with that cover in place. So anyway, a lot of nice little upgrades, to me, that's one of the great big advantages of having that U-pull at wrecking yard available, is I can pick the stuff up for cheap, and it really dresses up the car a ton and improves it to where it turns out to be something that's much more pleasing and just makes it a better project. And you're not spending hardly any money on it, and once in a while you get a blessing and you find 18 bucks worth of change to pay for your $11 carpet. So pretty thrilled about that. Anyway, there you go. Crazy Dad Camaro's coming together. Kind of hard in my garage to get a good picture of the whole thing, but I'm really pleased. I'm happy with where we're going, and the low buck thing is staying intact, and we are winning here, which I'm really pleased with.